The Football War by Sawyer S and
Chaim B.
The Football War was a quick and brief war that occurred just before the 1969 World Cup, when El Salvador attacked Honduras by launching missiles. The war was roughly 100 hours and is also known as the 100-Hour War. The cause of the war was over land reform in Honduras and immigration and demographic issues in El Salvador. The countries were rioting in the FIFA World Cup a year later due to the hostility between the two countries. The war began in mid-July of 1969 and ended around 4 days later. The USA got Honduras and El Salvador to stop fighting on July 18th. The act took full effect 2 days later. Troops of El Salvador were drawn back in August. Our thesis is that the 100-Hour War, also known as the Football War, was the short but deadly conflict between El Salvador and Honduras in 1969. The conflict strangely reaches its climax not on the battlefield, but after the fighting stopped. The military situation slightly favored El Salvador, but the war was too short for any decisions to be made or anything to be changed.
Our topic fits in with the theme of debate and diplomacy because El Salvador and Honduras were debating before the match, leading to the act of El Salvador launching missiles at Honduras and starting a war. The war being a way to show disagreement between El Salvador and Honduras, and doing actions over disagreement is a way to debate. Playing soccer is not usually a form of debate and diplomacy. However, in this case, the countries, El Salvador and Honduras, had beef beforehand, making the game and the pregame much more debated and heated. El Salvador and Honduras were debating over immigration in El Salvador and land reform in Honduras. The fight started by a debate over laws in the countries, starting the war. What is not diplomacy in the war is the launching of missiles and fighting. Diplomacy is dealing with disagreement in an effective way and not resorting to violence. Another definition of diplomacy is the art and practice of conducting negotiations between nations, exactly what El Salvador didn't do. After the war and the game was played, there was diplomacy between the teams and countries by making a peaceful agreement to end the war. We used BBC News to help show the problems the countries face that led to the war, such as immigration issues in El Salvador and land reform issues in Honduras. Evidence of this is provided by BBC News, which is of a match that happened before the conflict between the countries. This evidence proves our thesis because it shows that the war was very short and didn't have a great impact on the countries and their issues. BBC News also proves how the war started almost instantly after the game, proving that there couldn't have been much conflict between the two countries in the 3 weeks separating the war and the soccer match.
For a second piece of evidence, we used encyclopedia.com to prove how pointless the 100-Hour War was and why we think it should never have happened. In the article, it states the war itself only lasted 4 days, implying how other experts of the war thought the war didn't have much impact on the countries.
El Salvador launched missiles at Honduras over this issue, hoping that it would change Honduras' views on the issue and laws, which it clearly did not because 4 days of war cannot change anyone's opinion on much, especially a big group of people on an important topic. Honduras and El Salvador had lots of soccer matches against each other prior to the war, already making them rivals even before the war occurred.
For a third piece of evidence, we used SI.com. This article shows that the war was not necessary by stating soccer, war, nothing more, meaning that there wasn't much to the war other than the soccer match and the fighting because there weren't any big decisions made between the two countries. The historical significance of the 100-Hour War/Football War was a 22-year suspension of the CACM, or Central America Common Market, when Honduras virtually withdrew from the CACM in early 1971. The Central American Common Market's headquarters is in Guatemala City. It was a project that the United States has set up to facilitate regional economy development through free trade and economic integration. The Salvadoran government wasn't able to have the power that it once did, which led to the Salvadoran Civil War, in which El Salvador suffered a loss of 1 million residents. El Salvador ended up winning both the war and the World Cup, leaving their name in the history books in two different ways, winning a war and winning a World Cup. Another significant thing that comes from the war is political matters to deal with by both of the countries. However, this was much less significant than land reform issues in Honduras and immigration and demographic issues in El Salvador.
In conclusion, the point that we are trying to prove is that when the 100-Hour War didn't have much importance or impact on the countries and their issues, such as immigration issues. And if wars are started and many people die, there should at least be a good reason and a great impact on those who are fighting. El Salvador ended up winning the war, but the only thing that they got in return out of it was a civil war of their own.
Thank you for listening.